Hey, what's going on, guys? James here bringing you another YouTube video, and this one is finally the Clash of Champions, I guess mini review, as I've been calling these videos. And I know that it's been a while. I'm recording this on Wednesday, the pay-per-view was on Sunday, obviously. I just haven't felt like doing the, mini review for it, giving my thoughts on it. But honestly, all I can say is right away, I didn't really enjoy the show. I thought there were some good aspects of the show, absolutely, but I just don't think it was one of their better pay-per-views of the year, which is weird because the main roster pay-per-views, the last two Extreme Rules and SummerSlam, have actually been pretty solid shows, in all honesty. Like, at least enjoyable. But this, again, like, you had good moments, but there are other moments that completely dragged it down for me. And again, that's kind of like an unpopular opinion, honestly, because I've heard some people who agree with me and they really didn't like the show, but I've heard some people who think it's one of their best pay-per-views of the year, and it's like, I don't know, that's okay if you think that, or if you enjoyed the show. Opinions are a thing, everyone has one. Just respect each other's opinions, that's all you gotta do. But yeah, I really didn't enjoy the show. But if we talk about the match card and the predictions that Tyson and I had, which, by the way, I'll quickly go through the predictions. So, Tyson and I had the exact same predictions, except for two matches. And the matches that we differed on were the WWE Championship and the Women's Tag Team titles. He said Fire and Desire, I said Bliss Cross, and he said Kofi would retain, and I said Randy would win. But we'll get into that. But the predictions on a whole, we both had Drew Gulak, we both had Styles, we both had Ziggler and Roode, we both had Bayley, we both had the New Day, I had Bliss Cross, he had Fire and Desire, we both had Nakamura, both had Sasha Banks, I had Randy, he had Kofi, we both had Roman, and we both had Seth. So yeah. And suffice to say, somehow we actually ended up, or because we had only two matches different, Bliss Cross won, so I got the point there, but Kofi retained, so he got the point, so we ended up tying. And of course that, titles can't change hands on a draw, so I am still the champion. Not a very good first defense, might I add, but championship can't change hands in a draw, so that was something. But of course the first match we saw was the pre-show Gulak versus Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado in the triple threat. Honestly, it was a pretty good match. It was one of the weakest Cruiserweight Championship matches, which is weird, but yeah, it wasn't as good as some of the other Cruiserweight Championship matches, but there were still, again, like, some good moments in it, and Gulak did pick up the win. Then we had on the pre-show, which is super weird, by the way, but Styles versus Cedric Alexander, and Cedric started off really quickly, like Michinoku driver, getting a near fall, but he was pretty much out of the match as soon as Styles hit a brainbuster on the apron, followed by a Styles Clash on the outside. And Styles could have won, but he lifted the shoulder up, kept beating him up. Cedric got a little bit more offense in, but then eventually phenomenal form into a Styles Clash, 1, 2, 3. And Styles won. Then the show kicked off with Ziggler and Roode versus the champions Strowman and Seth Rollins. And this was a weird match because it was actually a pretty decent tag team match. Pretty good tag team match, honestly. And it ended with Bobby Roode pinning the Universal Champion, which, funny enough, I said that Seth would take the pin and then go on to retain in the main event, and he did do that. So, like, part of me hates how good I am at predicting WWE. Like, part of me just hates that so much, because, like, a lot of the things I said in the predictions that I thought were going to happen, they ended up happening, like that. Rollins took the pin and then went on to retain the Universal Championship. Like, Jesus Christ. But then we had Bayley versus Charlotte. This match, it was actually a really short match, and it ended with Bayley catching Charlotte off guard and ramming her head right into an exposed turnbuckle. Just rammed her to the head first of the exposed turnbuckle, if I can word, and then got the pin. Really quick. I'm not going to complain about that, though, because, well, I would have liked to see, like, what they could do in an actual one-on-one match. it's just really interesting, and I definitely think that that's not necessarily the end of where they're going with their feud. And it was definitely surprising. Definitely didn't expect to see Charlotte, of all people, lose that quickly, even if it wasn't a clean win. But it was interesting. I'll give it that. Then we had the New Day and the Revival. And now, here's the thing. Here's another one that sometimes makes me hate how good I am at predicting WWE. And that is, I said it in the predictions. I might even put the thing, put the audio over or something. I don't know. But I said that if the Revival win, Kofi wins. If the New Day win, Randy wins. I said that. I said that the New Day will not all walk out with the titles. I knew that. But I was sure that either the New Day or Kofi would still have a title. I was sure of that. And guess what? I said the New Day will win, but that prediction still came true as the Revival won the titles here, but then Kofi, of course, went on to retain against Randy. Why am I so good at predicting WWE? I don't know. I have no clue. But that's the thing. That happened, and yeah. Then we had Fire and Desire and Bliss Cross, and this match was a little more interesting as the crowd were actually pretty kind of hot for this match, honestly. And so before it, R-Truth and Carmella were hiding out in the back, and they were there during a Bliss Cross interview before the match. And Alexa, she grabbed the boom mic that R-Truth was actually holding, pretending to be a sound guy, and she just said, "R-Truth is in the back." And then during the match, everyone ran out. R-Truth is in the ring. The referee was keeping everyone else from getting in the ring. And Alexa, and there's another referee following everyone else trying to get to R-Truth. So Alexa rolls up R-Truth behind, gets a 2 count. And I guess you could technically count that as a defense of the 24/7 title. I don't know. But yeah, she tried to win the 24/7 title. And then there's not too much else to say about this match besides Bliss Cross won. I thought it was a pretty decent match, nonetheless. Then we had Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz. I almost said Sami Zayn. And this is actually interesting because Sami had a live mic, pretty much doing a heel promo throughout the whole thing. That was really interesting. And a lot of people actually immediately made Lio Rush comparisons, and I think that's cool. I wish I don't know why people hated Lio Rush doing that. I mean, I get he's a heel, so he's supposed to garner boos, but I don't know. I think it's a good heel thing to do, and apparently people legitimately straight up hated it, not just because it's a heel thing to do. But whatever. It was cool here, Sami. He kept doing that, and at some point Miz just grabbed the mic and chucked it up the freaking ramp, and it's you dick. I mean, yeah, people want that, but you dick. But our predictions came true. Nakamura retained. Sami was able to help Shinsuke out, distracting the referee after a skull-crushing finale. And yeah, it all worked out for Shinsuke. Though one thing that needs to be noted, and other people have noted this as well, just because a Kinshasa is hit to the back of the neck does not make it not a Kinshasa. A Kinshasa is a Kinshasa. Shinsuke's big running knee to the face, to the back of the neck, doesn't matter. It's still a Kinshasa. I mean, that'd be as if people commenting a Kenny Omega match started saying, the V trigger is only to the face. Kenny can never do the V trigger to the back of the neck and have it be called a V trigger. It's no, the V trigger is a knee to the head or neck. To anywhere that's upper body like this, in this region here. That's if Kenny's knee hits him like that, it's a V trigger. So, but yeah, people have said that before, because technically you would think a Kinshasa to the back of the neck would be more devastating, but they never call it a Kinshasa. It's okay, he's kneeing you in the back of the freaking neck. But whatever, it's something. But honestly, the match wasn't anything too spectacular, but it got the job done. It did what it needed to do. And yeah, Shinsuke retained. Then this match, okay. Um, this was interesting because to this point there hadn't been like, you know, a work rate match, you know, where two workhorses just go out there and tear the house down. There hadn't been a match like that for the night, and a lot of people thought, like, well, this could be Sasha versus Becky, and it started to go that way. They had a pretty good match. Sasha really utilizing, like, you know, the Meteoras, and then she hit like a big like single running knee when Becky was like sitting up. That looked pretty cool. Got a near fall, but the match ended. So Sasha, at first, she essentially pulled an Eddie Guerrero, like she threw a chair in the ring. Referee went to get rid of it, and as the referee did that, she grabbed another chair and she hit Becky right in the gut with it, and then of course threw the chair away, and that helped her offensively. And then she tried to actually almost get herself disqualified, it seemed, maybe, but then the referee stole the chair. Becky took the chair and then hit the referee. It's like, oh, okay. And of course, it wasn't intentional to get disqualified, but it was a deflating finish, and it would have been a little bit better, but they just, like, out of the blue, just announced randomly that Becky was disqualified. It's like the referee had no say in that. It's like the referee they assigned for the match, he was out cold. He couldn't officially end the match. So technically, the match should have still went on, but they just announced randomly, it's like, oh, Becky's been disqualified for inadvertently hitting a referee. And it's like, really? That's super deflating. Like, oh my god, that's just... And that would be like the theme of the show, in my opinion, is just the whole show ended up being super underwhelming. Granted, there really hasn't, ever since they started doing Clash of Champions, there hasn't been a massively, like, I'm not going to say successful. There hasn't been a massively, like, good Clash of Champions pay-per-view that they've done, in my opinion. But I don't know. That was just, like, completely deflating. But then we had Randy versus Kofi for the WWE title. And again, like I said, my prediction came true earlier. The Revival won. Kofi retained. And this match was very slow, not very interesting. And Kofi won clean over Randy. Simple as that. It's just super slow and not interesting. But now, of course, Brock's back. You know, he's back on Smackdown for, like, the first time since he left WWE in 2004. So, again, that's really cool and interesting, I guess. And he's going for the WWE title. And we'll see if he goes there. Like, and I'm actually interested to see if, like, he'll actually show up or not, because I know Fox wants him on Smackdown for when he does go. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm actually really intrigued by the concept of a Brock and Kofi match now, especially when you go back and see, like, apparently Brock destroyed Kofi at Beast in the East a few years ago. So again, like, I'm interested. I'm intrigued by that, and we'll see where it goes. But again, the match itself here, like Randy and Kofi, it was just slow and it was slow and uninteresting. Again, if I can word. But then we had actually probably what ended up being the match of the night: Roman Reigns versus Erick Rowan, and it started off really interesting. Roman attacking Rowan during his entrance, and they just started brawling, and they used some cool weapons, and we ended up getting an announce table spot, blah, 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 blah. Like, though at one point it did become like a normal match, and that was really weird for a no DQ match between two big hosses. Just let the dudes beat the piss out of each other. That's all we want, guys. Just let two big dudes beat the piss out of each other. But it was still pretty good, and Roman, after staggering him with, like, using a camera essentially using a camera and a Superman punch, Rowan just fell down the ramp. He was he did the ooh-ah, was, revving up for a big running spear. But then as he gets to the bottom of the ramp, he eats a big boot, not from Rowan, but from Luke Harper. Luke Harper is back, and by the way, this man, Luke Harper, he was gone for so long, he got his first name back. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Now if we can get the first name, now if we can actually get the first name for Rowan back, have him be Erick Rowan. Mustafa Ali, give him his first name back. I would say leave Cesaro and Rusev, though. I think they work better as just Cesaro and Rusev instead of Antonio Cesaro and Alexander Rusev. But either way, that's not the point here. So the point here is, yeah, Harper's back. That's awesome. Yo, he's wearing a freaking Amon Amarth shirt. Thrash metal, baby. Thrash metal. Anyway, so that's cool. And that's the big story here. It's just Harper's back. He ends up helping Rowan beat up Reigns, and then Rowan gets the win over Roman Reigns. So that's cool. And then we had the main event, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. So this match actually was pretty comparable to Rollins versus Lesnar in a way, with Strowman kind of like filling Lesnar's place here. Except Lesnar wasn't just dominating Rollins, or Strowman wasn't dominating Rollins as Lesnar would have. They got some, it was quicker. Definitely a bit of a shorter match, and it was cool, you know. But one thing I will say, we saw, of course, Strowman dive from the top rope, which was cool. I enjoyed that. Got a near fall. Rollins broke out the pedigree, which was cool. But here's the thing. For every good thing we got from this match, which there are actually quite a few good things, but we had something that just ruins the good things. Like, it's like, oh hey, Rollins broke out the pedigree, but it still took 4 curb stomps to put Strowman away. Like, yeah, let's just have Braun Strowman kick out of 3 curb stomps when it's a move called the curb stomp of all things. It's like it's literally just him stomping his opponent's face into the camp. It's like, oh my. So that sucks. It's like he's your Universal Champion. The curb stomp is this big move, and like I don't care like if Strowman's supposed to be a monster or whatever. Like him just like kicking out of 3 curb stomps, it doesn't sit well with me. It didn't during the match. And as I've had more time to think about it, it still doesn't sit well with me. And it also doesn't help that I've never been like a massive fan of the Braun Strowman character anyway. Like I don't really care for the Monster Among Men and all that stuff he was doing, especially like I said before, how Strowman, back last year when he was so over with the crowd, he could do things that should have made him a freaking heel, but like he got cheered and was known as a babyface. It's like, why? That doesn't make sense. It's like, he tipped an ambulance with Roman Reigns inside. Why is that? Why are you cheering for that? Like, come on. But, yeah, like, that was the big thing to take away from it, in my opinion, was definitely, the curb stomp looked like a super weak finish. And I know some of you, if you saw my Extreme Rules pay-per-view in Universe, I can't say anything. I made the Sister Abigail look super weak with Styles after being attacked earlier in the night, kicking out of 3 and it taking 4. But you know what? I've got plans. And I have a reason for doing that. But Strowman is like, it doesn't feel like WWE did that. It just feels like, oh, it's because it's Braun Strowman, he's the Monster Among Men, let's have him kick out of 3 curb stomps. But I don't know. It hasn't sat well with me. And if you, again, anyone that has watched my Extreme Rules pay-per-view, maybe Styles kicking out of 3 Sister Abigails didn't sit well with you. I don't know. I don't know if anyone watching this has even watched Extreme Rules. That's just like, it's a thing it's a thing that happened though. I don't know. Like I said before, it just didn't sit well with me. But he did bring up the pedigree and hit the 4th curb stomp to win. And like I said before, we had a draw with the predictions. Title can't chase and a draw. I'm still the predictions champion, which is cool. But the show ended with The Fiend laying out Rollins, and that was really cool, actually. Unexpected and cool. So yeah. overall, the show, again, it had some really good moments in it, but it was just a super underwhelming show despite the good things that did come from it. And not much else to say, really. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like, comment down below, share it on social media, do that good stuff. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.